Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, more information has come out about the murder of Jesse Baird and Luke Davies, and I'm calling bullshit on some of this. And yes, I know I'm a nobody, but still. Um, First off, there was a 911 call that the police didn't follow up because it disconnected. I'm like, gee, I wonder why it could have disconnected. Maybe the person was in some sort of, I don't know, distress or being killed. But no, they didn't follow that up. And if they had, they would have found out that one of the neighbours heard gunshots. But of course, no. And now we get to the real bullshit. His accomplice. Yes, there's an accomplice now. I believe, allegedly an accomplice, I should say, allegedly. And this is another police officer. Oh, what a surprise. Yeah, female police officer accompanied him in the van, having no idea there were bodies in there, and went to Bunnings, and I think allegedly, supposedly, she bought him like bolt cutters and a lock, or aided him because apparently he needed assistance, like perhaps so it wouldn't be traced to him if she bought them for him. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe allegedly, supposedly, that's just a theory. And then they went to some paddock and cut a gate open and went to a lake, and she apparently waited outside, having no idea what she was waiting for half an hour for. He left her down the road or something, and he went and did something with what she didn't know was in the van. So basically he went and at some point he bought weights. I don't know if it was for that or if he bought them for the second location where the bodies are now, but he also bought weights. But yeah, he basically dumped the bodies in a pond or a lake where another woman apparently was disposed of years ago. And then he left with her, but then I guess he figured she either wasn't as trustworthy as he thought, and even though she apparently allegedly supposedly looked like she was, you know, aiding an officer to cover up a murder, a fellow officer, you know, because those, you know, the police stick together, you know, they're very loyal to each other, you know, the blue line and all that crap. He then went back and moved the bodies because I guess he didn't trust her not to do what she eventually did do, which was talk to the police, but she doesn't appear to have done that until they were already looking, and it was obvious that it was going to be found, and then she would be implicated in the crime. So she tried to get ahead of that and save her own ass. Allegedly, supposedly, in my opinion, you know, from what's totally obvious to anyone with any brain. So yeah, I'm pretty disgusted. I remember I did my video the other day and I was saying, you know, there was a lot of talk about the police who have a history of brutality and neglect with the gay community. They just did a report about that came out the other day and was printed or published, or I don't know where it was. I guess it was online or something. I don't know. Maybe it was on, I don't know. But they were talking about that. And I was saying, look, we need to focus on the fact that this was one of our own. It wasn't someone from outside. But no, apparently someone from the outside was aiding this, in my opinion, allegedly, supposedly. And the other thing is that when this first came out, it did appear, in my opinion, allegedly, supposedly, that they were trying to blame Jesse like it was a double murder. And I guess that's what the initial idea was, to set it up for, or to blame him. And they're saying now the reason why they did that was not because they knew a police officer was involved. Of course not. Not they knew two police officers were involved. No, of course not. No, it's because the messages that Bo was sending on Jesse's phone to his friends and saying he was going to move and everything suddenly, that they thought that he was making those messages so he was still alive, so he must have been the killer. I don't believe that for a second. So yeah, I'm disgusted they didn't follow up on the call, because I mean, it's a 911 call that got disconnected. Now, I think I might have accidentally called 911 once in my life and disconnected the phone. That does happen. But the police should probably call back and check, yeah, are you dying? Are you being killed? Are you okay? You know, something like that. But yeah, so I'm disappointed in the police. I do feel like this is very shady, and that this female officer is, in my opinion, an accomplice that is now trying to save herself, and that, you know, this is the police trying to cover up one of their own going bad and doing something they shouldn't have. The fact he was allowed to get his gun out like days in advance. I mean, apparently there are some rules where they can take their guns out to use for private work or something when they hide for other things or something like that. It's all very confusing, but either way, he shouldn't have had his gun out when he did for as long as he did and use it for what he did. So there's some failing there. But yeah, I'm just so annoyed that, I mean, if they had investigated that call immediately, they would have found the bodies, and we at least wouldn't have the family searching for the bodies and that trauma that they're going through. They may not have caught him because he may have ran, but at least we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now. And I don't know, had this other police officer, who I believe is an accomplice, hadn't have aided him, he wouldn't have been able to hide the bodies as well as he has. And the other thing, I didn't understand why he handed himself in but wasn't telling where the bodies were, because he didn't confess. He just handed himself in to be, interviewed, and then they kept him because they're going to charge him. He didn't actually get charged because he confessed or anything, so that's where I was confused there. So, yeah, but we'll see where this goes. It's obviously not done.